Alright, now I turn my attention to the handlebars. So this is the T-cycle mount, as I said at the start. Nice. That articulates really well. It's only a rough sort of rigging up of it at the moment, but we'll see. The spiders come to have a look. That is a nice piece of kit, I must say, really sturdy. Space for the hand there, and what I'm hoping is that it's difficult to envisage it when the bike's up on the stand, but what I'm hoping is that the thumb will be able to come out to the side to do the throttle if I put it about there. However, now it's all got to come off, well maybe not all of it, but a lot of it, because we need to take the brakes off to put the new brake lever in. So I'll slacken off the gear cable. These are Sunrace shifters. They're not bad, not outstanding. The indexing on the right hand lever is not quite what it was, so I can't give them a wholehearted recommendation because of that, but they're not bad. So undo this locking ring for the grip. Okay, let's swap this over. Good time to lubricate the cables if you want to. And I do want to because they are dry as anything. Let's give them a little bit of a clean first. Okay, brake cable lubricated, which very much needed doing. These are quite low down. Apologies if that was stating the obvious, but when it rains they get a bit of a hammering. I'm going to slacken these right off because they'll need readjusting. That might need a bit more lubrication yet actually. That's still not particularly free. I'm quite keen on the brakes being pretty good on this bike, given that it's going to have a lot more power than it used to. So we may be coming back to those again. So the way these are installed, the height of the handlebar grip dictates where the brake lever, how high the brake lever goes. Now it's flush with the top. I'm not connecting that one up yet because I've got a lot of cabling and stuff to do, but I just want to have it in position so I know where the top of the stroke is, so I can get the other bracket in the right place. So I'm going to put the controller on now. Comes with two sets of spacers. I'm using the thicker ones for the smaller handlebar size, 22.2. 3 nuts and bolts, 2 of the same size, one smaller. The smaller ones for the controller there, which I'll do in a minute. So these are 3mm, and don't do what I did, put the spacers in position before you tighten the bolts up at all. If I just loop that around there once, that's going to take up the slack cable, so I'll do that. Right, now moving on to the battery mount. To put the battery mount on, I need to clean this bit here, and to do that I need to move the mudguard back, and to move the mudguard back I need to take the wheel off. Okay, so the wheel's off. Battery went just as I was taking it off, so you didn't get to see that bit, but I'm sure you can get the idea. Found that the bike was pivoting forward because I had the motor temporarily installed on the front, and the extra weight was making it fall off the stand, so I had to go quickly round the front to take the motor out. This area of the bike, especially with a 20-inch wheel, gets quite a lot of muck on it, just because it's also close to the ground. As I said, I'm not giving it a full sort of valet type thing, but I can't bring myself to install a clamp with grit underneath it, because that will just scratch everything. So that gives me clearance to get that forward. This gets ridden daily, I think I said earlier, and it gets ridden on trails and stuff, so plenty of muck about. Okay, I'll carry on giving that a clean, and I'll come back when I'm done. Right, we'll just go through the components of the mount. So, plate for the bottom, onto which the larger plate will bolt. This can also be used for a Shimano step system, so that's why it's got why it just doesn't come with that larger plate as standard, I guess. 2 clamps, and they are going to go around there. The upright piece with markings for 20 and 26. Obviously we're on the 20 here, so we'll go with that one. Little spacer and mounting tube, which I presume is going to go like that underneath. I am actually going to read the instructions and everything for this. So, install the plastic shims. So these are exactly the same clamps as we saw for the handlebar mount. The instructions are very clear to have the bolts facing backwards. It means they're going to have a lot more muck thrown up at them, but it also means that you can actually get to them to tighten them, whereas the other way around you can't. So the next part is putting the upright onto the shelf. This stuff's very nicely made, I must say. Attach the shelf. So that's a 6mm Allen bolt for this one. There we go. So obviously this trike's got a rack, and it looks like what you do is, no, that shouldn't be loose for a start. Oh well, it is. So dispense with the original bolt, I'm also just going to put this brake back together so I can see where the cable routing needs to go. Okay. Okay, that looks good. Difficult to tell whether everything's level because the bike isn't actually level on these stands, so this might need a bit of fine tuning when it's all back on the ground and back together. It's going to push the mudguard slightly closer to the wheel, but if I'm remembering correctly, there's enough clearance, so we should be alright. Okay, so I'm just doing, I couldn't resist it, I'm just doing a test fit for the battery. It looks as if I might not need that extra shelf, which is a bit of a shame having bought it. Using the furthest inward holes, this battery plate seems to fit okay. Not really going to get a great deal of extra stability by putting the wider plate on because all the load is going through the central part, which is on the current plate. The only problem with that is that the cable comes out of the back, and so you've got to run it all the way underneath to go forwards. I know I'm going to have to extend it whatever happens. This does give clearance for the key, which is round here on the other side, and it also does mean that the USB charging port and the switch just there are going to be really close to the seat. What I don't know is whether the seat is going to fit on. Just moving my supports a bit to stabilise the bike with the extra weight. And we'll just do a test fit. Oh yeah, nothing to worry about. That was absolutely fine, wasn't it? In fact, that could go even further forward to keep the weight a bit more central. Let's see how we feel about that. I could probably move this bolt back to there if I really moved it a lot further forward, but we'll do it like this for now. A lot of sort of trial and error with this type of thing, I guess. So what I'll do is route this over the mount, that big support arm for the mount where the lower chain tube is going. Route it round to the other side of the bike and then take it all the way forward. Need to make sure it's not in anywhere where it can be chafed, because you really don't want to be chafing through that. I'm just giving everything a good old clean. You can see this derailleur jockey wheel is absolutely filthy, so that's going to have a good clean. I've taken the chain off. The chain is in much worse condition than I thought, so we're having a new chain, and because the chain's bad and we're having a new chain, we're having a new rear cassette as well. There's the rest of the derailleur still to do. Plenty of clag on there. This is a park tool to undo the lock ring on the cassette, and it needs a 1-inch spanner. This is the only 1-inch spanner I have, in case you're wondering why I've gone for such a hefty spanner. The bike came with a SRAM cassette originally, but it's having a Shimano one on there now because the SRAM ones are unnecessarily expensive on this type of bike. I think is how I'd describe it. This is an 11 to 32, and I'm putting the same on, just a Shimano alternative instead.